I want to talk about and show all sorts of cool things here, but this is the Alright, it's in the title. We're here to talk about ADHD. I know, another person getting diagnosed in their late 20s. It's the new pandemic. Everyone is a little bit ADHD. Shut the fuck up. Don't be a part of the problem. Alright, so today's video is going to be diving into my recent journey with ADHD and what my upcoming channel plans are while I figure out my niche in this space. ADHD has become one of the biggest things in my life after getting diagnosed 7 or 8 months ago at the sweet age of 27. Like many people, I started suspecting ADHD during one of the many lockdowns. Thanks, COVID. I was battling with small depressive episodes and bouts of anxiety. It wasn't crippling, but it was something I was very unfamiliar with. It was uncomfortable, pretty scary, especially when combined with the isolation that lockdowns brought on. I started seeing a counsellor through the EAP services through my work. It helped a little. Fast forward another 6 months and we were still going through lockdowns, but some key relationships in my life broke down, varying reasons, but a lot of it was tension from being locked down for so long. Things are a lot better now, but it felt like a pretty bad breakup and it left me spiraling all hours of the day. After 2 or 3 months of ruminating on it, my partner suggested I seek some help as my headspace continued to get worse despite the world starting to finally get back to some sense of normalcy. A lot of the time I just felt sad, angry, and all around pretty low. So like all basic bitches on a self-discovery journey, I started therapy. Woo! I had a list of things I wanted to talk about with the therapist, the relationship breakdown being at the top of the list, plus the anxiety, the depression. I'd also just started hearing little things about ADHD on TikTok, so thought I'd mention that later in the session if we got time. The session starts and I kind of just forgot that I had a list. 8 minutes in, after discussing my explosive anger that comes from being interrupted during tasks, he brings up ADHD without me prompting it or even driving the conversation. He gave me the diagnostic criteria to have a look through, and I found myself relating to 8 out of 9 on the inattentive type and the hyperactive scale. So that was fucking rad. So from there I speak to my GP who runs me through it again, also agrees with it, and refers me to a psychiatrist, and this is where the fun began. Trying to track down a psychiatrist post-lockdown who is accepting new clients and who specializes in ADHD. Ew. I finally get an appointment after battling with all sorts of fun mental health front desk receptionist. I'm sure we all have a story with one of them if we're here. Fun times. You know who you are. I finally get an appointment, and about 6 months later I finally get my diagnosis. I remember laughing when my psych gets to the end of the session and says, well, I think it's pretty clear you have ADHD, so your diagnosis is combined type ADHD and binge eating disorder. We'll dive into this in another video as it's super important to me, so stay tuned. The weight off my shoulders literally left me speechless. It was the most validating experience, but it's also one that leaves you feeling incredibly confused. There's a lot of grief and mixed emotions that come with a later diagnosis, the kind where you have to make the conscious decision to move on with what you have rather than grieve what could have been. Letting go of the anger and resentment for all the people who missed it when you were younger, it's really hard to put that aside and just charge forward into the rest of your life with this newfound knowledge. I still battle with this, but the periods of acceptance between the grief seem to just, they last longer now, so yeah. So I'm really good at making plans, not following through with them. This video explains why that is, but I've been wanting to do YouTube for years. One thing that a lot of people talk about is trying to find your niche, and this is something I've struggled with forever. As this is something I'm still incredibly interested in and enjoy talking about and researching, I thought it'd be a good place for me to start my channel in. I like the idea of creating content that me from 5 years ago would benefit from, and she really needed this. I want to talk about and show all sorts of cool things on here, but ADHD is the topic that's really getting me out of my rut and just getting me started. My channel will hopefully be a bunch of different playlists about everything from me and ADHD, working through an eating disorder, to my more creative pursuits and photo and content creation. That's all until I do well enough on here that someone pays me a bunch of money to go and travel and make super cinematic travel vlogs. Please send me to Greenland or Iceland. I just want to keep enjoying the process of creating and expressing myself in a way that I enjoy. So If you're still watching, thanks so much. Please consider subscribing, and stay tuned as I continue to update this and add more to this playlist. Thanks so much.